Can you elaborate? Can you explain further? And again, if they're clear on what they're telling you, they'll be able to do that. Here we go. Can you give me an example? And even more powerful is, can you actually illustrate? So when that person's up there foaming at the mouth telling me, oh yeah, you can go make a lot of money doing this. Well, it's unclear to me. Can you come up here and can you illustrate that for me? And if they can illustrate, if they can elaborate, if they can explain and give you an example, then guess what? They're a concrete thinker and they know about the topic that they're talking about. If all of a sudden you start mumbling and go, well, I think it's like this, and you know what? They're not a concrete thinker, they're an abstract thinker, and it's unclear on their knowledge about what they're talking about. But do we ever ask that question? Is it clear? Let's talk about the next one. And we're going to kind of skip here a little bit. And what I'd like to talk to you about is precision. Precision is actually very closely related to clarity. And precision talks about detail, talks about specificity. We got any nurses in here? Anybody working in the medical profession? You do? Okay. You walk into your patient's room and you look down and you're looking like a little bit sweaty, so you put their hand on your forehead. Or who has children in here? Okay. Your child comes up and they're crying and you put your hand up there on the forehead and go, wow, you're feeling a little hot. Yes, your patient's hot. So you walk out to the charge nurse and you charge the nurse and say, hey, are all your patients okay? Yeah, but I got this patient at number 7, she feels a little hot. Do you think that's precise? Yeah. Do you think in her industry that the charge nurse would go, okay, well, check out her in a few minutes? Would you take that as being precise? In every profession, any career that you are in, the level of precision is always going to depend on of course, that career. If, sir, you bought your vehicle to me and I changed out a tire, and you came up to me and said, hey, did you tighten up the tire? Yep, sure did, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, no problem, right? Would you take that as being precise? Would you get in your car and go, okay? Or else if I came up to you and says, yes, sir, what we did is we took a look at your manufacturer specifications. It said that your tires, the lug nuts, need to be tightened at least 60 foot-pounds. We took a torque wrench and we put plus or minus 65 pounds. Now, am I being precise? If someone was building you a house and you went out to the house and they're about ready to lay the foundation slab and you looked at them and said, hey, did you check this plot because it kind of looks a little funny here? Oh no, we took a look at the drawings, we kind of lined it up a little bit while we're drinking a beer and yep, it's right there. Would you take that as being precise? Now if you walked in my classroom and you went, Mr. Shmoniak, am I passing your class? Yep, sure are. Would you take that as being precise? Or it's like, oh heck no, I want to exactly know the grade, I want to know the number, I want to know the 10. That's getting precision. Do we ever do that when we're actually thinking and applying things? So, we have clarity, we have precision. Okay, let's talk about the next one, accuracy. Now, you remember that statement that I made? I made that what? I said that, Cameron County, young men, 17 to 24, 8 times 90% of them are HIV positive. Do you think that's a clear statement? Yeah, I think it is. It's pretty clear, right? All right. Do you think it's precise?
No.
Why? Who said no?
From the people that they tested, they got 90%.
That's right.
But they didn't test everyone.
And who do you mean by testing everybody?
Well, they couldn't have possibly.
Your question is vague, man. Could you be precise?
Well, in my opinion, I don't think they actually.
I said everybody in Cameron County.
They actually tested every single male in Cameron County.
Now you're thinking. All right? Because number one, but first of all, what's it precise? I think it was precise. I said Cameron County. I didn't say the whole state of Texas, right? Okay? And I said what? Young males 17 through 24. I'm going to get to your point in a second. All right? And I said 90% of them are HIV positive. So I think that's pretty precise, right? I didn't say all men in Texas. I didn't say all men in Cameron County. I got pretty precise on my numbers, correct? But now it gets to the next point. Is it accurate? How many of you, seriously, would have walked out that door 5 minutes after I started, looked up at the sun, saying, how many more minutes, Mr. Shmoniak? How many people here believed on what I just said about the young men 17 through 24 being HIV positive? Don't be afraid. You're not the only one. Don't be afraid. I've had plenty of students. I've had 100 students inside this classroom. I've had over 50% of them raise their hand up. And of course, some of the young ladies and men looking at one another, because I've switched it around from men to women, and saying, you need to go to the doctor. But the bottom line is that this. How can you check it? Just like you said. And a lot of people will read it. It'll be in a newspaper and go, oh my God, get our kids, let's go get them checked right now. Where did you ever sit there and test it? Now, you brought up some good points. Because I could have simply said, well, I was at the home health center, and the first 10 people that walked through, 9 of them were HIV positive. I finished up my coffee and I left. Let me tell you something. Numbers mystify, and they wow people. You know, Richard Paul, that actually has built this critical thinking sessions, he brought up an interesting article. And let me talk to you about it. It's about, you ever hear this? It's how to lie with statistics. Because you know what? Statistics sound so impressive. You know, they impress you, right? You go, ooh, wow. If I came up to you and said, you know, you're my girlfriend, and you know, honey, do you know that 90% of the time that we're together, that you are happy and that you propose a very, you know, smiley face, 90% of the time that 40%, I mean, we just start throwing out statistics and people are like, going, wow, ooh, he knows what we're talking about. Look, and this happens anywhere. It happens at school. It happens in the nation. Look at all the times that those news reports get up. What do? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, right now the poverty rate is 40%. Really, how did you get that number? Where are your tests? And one of the greatest examples is the global warming. You know, you got one person that's actually going to jail right now because what did they do? They massaged the numbers. They faked the numbers. You have to always be on guard that when you're looking for accuracy. There's a difference between precision and accuracy. Accuracy is when we look at it. Hey, how can we test this to validate it? How can we actually look at it to be true? What evidence are you using to tell me that 90% of the 17 to 24 young men here in Cameron County are HIV positive? Tell me. When did you do the study? How long ago? What was your control group? What was your population group? Do we ever ask those questions to be able to test and evaluate for accuracy? And the next one is simply relevance. Or what we're talking about is actually relevant. Now, if I gave you an assignment right now to follow the rise of the Roman Empire, and I said, go forth and get your information, give me my research paper, and all of a sudden you got into little groups, 2 of you are in there trying to look for the Roman Empire, and the other one is sitting there shopping on Amazon.com for the next perfume that Estee Lauder's coming out. Is that really relevant to what you're doing? If you come up to me and say, and we're boyfriend and girlfriend, just kind of ad-libbing here, and you go, hey, where were you yesterday? I thought I saw you with that other young lady in your car. And I'm like, baby, honey, that's really a nice shirt. You know, 92, that's a really good number. Where did you get that? Is it really relevant to what we're talking about? How many times this time you've taken a test by an instructor and you look on the questions and you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember this information. It wasn't passed in the other unit.